The bitter cold isn't just uncomfortable, it's a killer. In the trenches of World War II, soldiers faced more than bullets and gas. Frostbite was an invisible enemy, creeping into fingers, toes, and noses, sometimes claiming limbs or lives without a single shot fired. Yet amid the mud, blood, and chaos, frontline medics discovered a simple homemade balm that turned the tables on frostbite, and it's still used today by explorers and Arctic adventurers. This isn't some modern gimmick or high-tech synthetic cream. It's a wartime concoction that anyone with the right ingredients could whip up, and it works because it's smart science hidden in plain sight. The soldiers didn't have heaters or Gore-Tex gloves, but they had this balm, and it gave them a fighting chance against the icy grip of winter. In the trenches, the cold could set in faster than reinforcements, feet stuck in wet socks, hands frozen inside mittens, and noses turning blue. It was a constant battle. Soldiers quickly learned that layering wool and keeping dry wasn't enough. The real secret came from medics experimenting with natural ingredients they could carry in their packs. The core principle was simple: create a protective barrier that traps heat, repels moisture, and stimulates circulation. They combined animal fats, beeswax, and certain plant oils, ingredients that were cheap, portable, and surprisingly effective. Rubbed over extremities, the mixture didn't just coat the skin, it created a shield against the ice. Soldiers nicknamed it trench wax, and in a world of limited resources, it became a frontline lifesaver. Science caught up much later, but the medics were already ahead of the curve. The fats in the mixture provided insulation, the wax kept the balm in place despite snow and sleet, and the oils helped blood flow to the skin. This wasn't just about warmth, it was about survival at the cellular level. Frostbite isn't just cold fingers, it's tissue dying because blood can't reach it. By keeping circulation moving and providing a thermal barrier, the homemade balm stopped frostbite before it could start. It's easy to underestimate how effective this simple solution was. Modern Arctic expeditions still use variations of this recipe. Explorers in Greenland, Antarctica, and northern Canada swear by oil and wax mixtures that trace their lineage back to muddy, blood-soaked World War II trenches. The key lesson? Sometimes the simplest solution is the most powerful. This isn't just history. It's wisdom for anyone venturing into the cold. Commercial products are convenient, but they can fail when temperatures drop far below freezing. Soldiers didn't have fancy labels or marketing. They had survival instincts, ingenuity, and hands-on experimentation, and it paid off. So, the recipe is actually pretty straightforward. You start with a base of animal fat or lard mix and some beeswax to help it stay put, and add just a small amount of plant oil to improve the texture and boost circulation. Some medics would even toss in herbs like camphor or pine oil, not just for the scent, but because they help increase blood flow. When applied before heading out into the cold, this mix protected soldiers for hours, even during those brutal blizzard conditions. What's really remarkable is that, these days, modern users can totally adapt this old recipe. If you want a plant-based option, you can just replace the animal fat with coconut oil, or even shea butter. Beeswax, though, still remains essential because of its staying power, and just a few drops of warming oils like eucalyptus can make a huge difference. It's basically the same frontline survival secret, just reimagined for the 21st century. Frontline medics knew something that, often goes unmentioned. Surviving the cold is as much mental as it is physical. Soldiers trusted the balm not just because it worked, but because they felt proactive. When your hands are numb and your mind is fogged by hypothermia, confidence in your protective measures is, absolutely vital. The act of rubbing the balm on extremities became a ritual of control in an uncontrollable environment. This psychological boost is as critical today for Arctic explorers as it was for soldiers in the mud-soaked trenches. Here's the kicker. A solution born of necessity in the chaos of World War II is still outpacing some modern commercial remedies. That's not luck. That's frontline ingenuity. Soldiers didn't have the luxury of trial and error over months in a lab. They had hours in freezing mud, and they figured out what worked fast. For anyone preparing for extreme cold, whether a weekend hike in the Rockies or a month-long Arctic trek, this balm isn't nostalgia. It's practical, tested survival science. The lesson extends beyond frostbite. Survival often comes down to observing, adapting, and, well, making do with what's at hand. The medics who perfected this anti-frostbite balm didn't just save fingers. They created a blueprint for thinking like a survivor, resourceful, efficient, and fearless. You don't need to risk frostbite to benefit from the secret. Making a small batch of this balm for cold weather outings ensures that when the temperature drops unexpectedly, you're armed with more than gloves. You're armed with centuries of wartime wisdom, distilled into something you can hold in your hand, rub on your skin, and trust to protect you when it matters most. It's incredible to think that the same mixture that kept soldiers alive in freezing mud in 1917 can still keep adventurers safe on modern ice fields. That's the power of practical ingenuity, the kind of wisdom that only comes from experience under pressure. It's messy, it's simple, and it works every time. If you want more hidden survival secrets, frontline tested methods, and practical tips that history forgot but you can use today, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell, share this with anyone who loves history, adventure, or just staying alive in extreme conditions. Knowledge like this deserves to spread, and the next time frostbite threatens, you'll be ready.